I am curious as to during the pandemic, how did we look for jobs? How was that different than non-pandemic? But especially, I mean, Ash, with your placement, how did you kind of find out what you liked without, without being able to go in person to places or experience those things in person?
It was interesting. I applied for my placement just right into like when the pandemic started. So it was a long process. I I applied a week before the deadline because I was still like deciding whether or not I wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, what could I lose? I'm just gonna apply for it. And everything was obviously online. It was a whole application process. I had a couple of interviews, and then summer break. And then that's when I started like applying for internships, which was everything was online, and I was home, so I wasn't in London, and the whole time difference thing. So I did stay up most nights.
Yeah, what was the time difference like?
It was like 4 or 5 hours.
Oh my
So it
gosh.
wasn't yeah. So I would stay
Because
up and
home for you is not
take
London, correct?
no, so I'm from Oman,
Okay. Yeah.
the Middle East. Yeah. So there was that. But well, as far as the placement, because I came back in October, I came back to London in October, um, which was great. I was here for the placement, but again, everything was online. And because my placement entailed me to work on my brand, I feel like I didn't have that creative freedom to actually go out and like find inspiration.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it was working on my fashion brand. So although it was virtual, I mean, yeah, there are perks to it, as Anne said, and but it just wasn't it wasn't what I was expecting.
And how did you create, I'm curious, how did you create your brand during the pandemic? What
So
kind of gave you creativity?
So it was a business idea that I had for a while, and I felt like this placement just sat in my lap at the right time. And I just went for it. And the whole process of the placement was to, grow the brand from like an idea to like an actual brand. And so it was just development and like creative. So they just helped through the whole process of it. And I had to meet suppliers. So I was in touch with suppliers and textile industrialists. And I was doing marketing and everything. But all I have to do is literally just put my product out there. And which is what I've put a pause on for right now, because I can't physically go to the suppliers to actually see the products and see what my final product is going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough. So with everyone else, how did you even like start to look for jobs? I mean, is it as simple as going online and typing in, journalism major jobs, or like what's even the process?
I don't think I realized how the job process changed with COVID until I had to interview online. So I'd done online interviews before, so that was nothing different, but it kind of felt a little heavier because I'm like, this is now like a full-time job. This is essentially what I'm looking to commit to for a long period of time. And I'm not getting to meet any of the people in person. I'm not getting to see the office place, see what the culture is like there. It's a lot different in that regard. And you don't realize it until you kind of walk in on your first day and you're like, this is not kind of what I was getting through the screen. And so I was rather disappointed when I walked in my first day. And I knew the general idea of what I was walking into, but just kind of it felt a little less authentic when it's through a screen because you can't see the people around. You don't walk through an office and kind of feel what other people are feeling. And I walked into my first job and it felt kind of sad and not what I was looking for. And so that was something that I didn't realize until after the fact.
That's true. I didn't really think about that because, the accessibility is so much easier, but then that also takes away the background of everything, of like what you're not seeing. Bonnie and Adamari and Anne, was that kind of, what were your processes like?
Mine, I mean, it was basically applying online. But most of the jobs that I've applied to or got interviews for were virtual only.
Yeah.
A lot of them, even TV shows, like production companies, got rid of their offices because it was too expensive to have during the pandemic when they weren't generating a whole lot of revenue. So they got rid of it. So it's solely online. So that was like a huge factor when I was looking at jobs, because I having a year and a half of school online, I was excited for like a company culture, like social stuff. But so that was definitely something I was not expecting.
Good point. Yeah. Anyone else?
I also, it was a lot of Google searching. It was using LinkedIn. It was going to the LinkedIn jobs tab. So I'm in the like nonprofit sphere now, and I knew that's kind of the direction I wanted to go in. I didn't know exactly what kind of subject area I wanted to focus on. I knew Washington, D.C. was a little bit more of a hub, so I thought I'd narrow it down with that location. But I wasn't even quite sure what types of jobs to look for. What types of jobs are entry-level jobs? Like what does that even mean? What do I search for? So there's a lot of just scrolling to see what even the possibilities were. And then it was applications out the wazoo, cover letters, resumes, just I have folders by the dozens now saved in my computer of all the applications. And it was whichever one I was lucky enough to get an interview for. If I wasn't choosy, wasn't picky.
I could not agree. I couldn't agree more with everything you just said there, and that is applying online to a T.